Good morning, everybody. Today we are discussing global economics and the global politics and interdependent relationship. If we are considering the global political economy, then we have to study the global economics and the global politics and economics at the same time. We are considering the acts, functions of the various institutions that are performing throughout the globe and affect the global politics. Now, I am just giving you the description of the book, The Wealth of Nation, written in the year 1776 by Adam Smith. You know, he is called the father of the classical economics and also the father of political economics. His book, he stated that the nation can manage or the market can be well managed with its proper allocation of the national resources. You know, in the year 1914, the First World War was started by the assassination of Archduke by the Serbian nationalist terrorist group Blackheart. And you know, the globe has already changed in this war that has been continued up to the level of 1918. And after, when the World War is over, which is called the Great War, the world has witnessed the Great Depression, what has been started from USA in the year 1929. You know, in that particular year, Herbert Hoover, he is the former US president, he stated, if there is no world war, there would have been no depression throughout the globe. Then that is the main cause of the Great Depression throughout the globe. And you know, in that area, the world has an witness of Great Depression throughout the globe. The situation has been worse, and economic situation has become worse and day by day. Now the day has come in the year 1934 when the world has witnessed the Second World War, when the Hitler, that is Germany, attacked the Poland. The Second World War is a massive disasters happened throughout the globe. I can give you the two examples. What's happened in that situation? You know, during the World War, the then Russia, they are converted their tractor manufacturing industry into tanker manufacturing industry for the cause of the war. And when the war is over, the country that are less affected with that particular war, that is the USA. Then when the war is over, you know, the Remington, they are producing the typewriter of what they are producing the weapons during the Second World War. In both the war, why we can say the First World War and the Second World War, the one country, they have to give the penalty as per the tribunal order, that is the Germany. And they pay badly for the two consecutive war. And when the war is over, for the purpose of reconstruction of the globe, there is a necessity for restructuring of the globe. Then Bretton Woods conference, we are telling that conference was happened in the year, in the month of July 1944, Amsterdam, there the conference which is called the Bretton Woods Twins. Two organizations were formed. One is called the IMF and another is called the World Bank. The IMF, that they have provided the medium term, short term and medium term loan for mitigating the balance of payment crisis of the member countries. Then after that, we are considering the World Bank. They are providing the long-term loan for restructuring or rebuilding the nation those are affected by the world war. And we know that financial support and technical support they have extended for the purpose of rebuilding. Then after that, in the year 1947, another institution was formed which is called GATT, General Agreement of Tariff and Trade. This institution throughout the globe, some sort of barrier in the trade or some advantages are taken by the advanced countries, some of the tariffs are imposed by the countries, that has been rationalized, and that you can say some sort of way they are making the throughout the globe one country or one nation, or you can say globe is the single hub, thereby considering all the members are gaining or benefiting from GATT. After that, you can say the some sort of problem that has been arised in the year 1960s and 70s. The fall of the gold standard, the world was crisis of the oil crisis of 1973, and the depression throughout the globe in 1970. That has witnessed then some sort of restructuring is required. The world is thinking over the matter. The some sort of necessity of some of the organizations and liberalization is the slogan of the world. You know, during this period, right from 1945, that is the end of the World War, to the 1989 or 91, the fall of the Soviet Union, during this period, there is a Cold War that are going on between the USA and the erstwhile USSR. And the two blocks are fighting each other, but the tension that has been aggravated sometimes and that has been neutralized sometimes. The world has severe instances are happening throughout the globe during this period. But when the globalization have started, we can say it has started its ground from UK. The then Prime Minister of UK, Margaret Thatcher, she started the wave of globalization, and that blows towards USA by Ronald Reagan, and thereafter it has been taken by India by the then Finance Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh under the Prime Ministership of Narasimha Rao. And in China, it was happened. Deng Xiaoping, he was after Mao, he took the power in 1976, and by 2010, China becomes the second largest economy in the world. Then I can tell you, in 2005, the position of the USA was 1, China's position was 4th, and the Indian position was 10th. And India poised to the global hub by 2005. And in that aspect, the liberalization has given the slogan, or globalization has an impact over the globe. I can tell you one thing, the need of the unskilled workers that has been vanished. The need of the skilled workers is rising day by day. And throughout the globe, the competitiveness, that is the need of the hour, and skill base, or there is a skill gap in the developing countries. And after the World War, after the USA and the Japan, the only Europe, they are gaining the ground gradually. But when the globalization have started, the two emerging nations, one is China and another is India, they are gradually go in the up layer. Corporate capitalism is the new buzzword of 1960s. As we know, as stated by Peter F. Drucker, small is beautiful, but it is also stated the big is beautiful. Sometimes the corporations, that is the multinational corporations, supersede the nations. I am giving you the table. In 2000, it is the figure of the UNESCO that near about 29 multinationals are dominating out of 100 economic units of the world and 71 countries, considering the country's GDP and the company's turnover, that tally was made. The figure has dramatically changed in 2018 when 71 multinationals come under the fold of 100 economic units of the world and only 29 countries that prevail within that barrier. The thing is that after liberalization, the multinationals become more and more powerful. Even in USA, half of the export was made by the multinational corporations and 40% of the import was made by them as per the economic analysis made by USA. Now, thing has not only changed in the dimension of these corporations, the demography has also changed and democratic atmosphere that has also been changed. Then trilemma, one is called democracy, another is sovereignty, and at the same time their global aspect. Within that, we always call for two, not the three. That means if we go for democracy, national sovereignty and globalization, three things are not happen at the same time throughout the globe. It is an interesting feature. More than half of the nations are democratic in the regime of globalization. In 1946, when the World War is over in 1944, near about 29 countries are called democratic countries, 29% of the countries. The only 36% countries, they are following both the democratic and the autocratic path, and near about 31% they are following the autocratic path. Then before liberalization in the year 1977, the feature has changed. Only 26 countries are democratic, 13% they are following the mixed path of both democracy and autocracy, and 62 countries they are following the path of autocracy. But after liberalization of 1991, we considered the graph of 2017, then you see 57% countries, they are following the democratic path and 28% following the mixed path and only 13% following the path of autocracy. Then liberalization not only open up the door of economics, but also open up the door of politics also. And that is the thing that yes, in globalization regime, there are some sort of gainer and losers are there. IMF has made a study. After liberalization, rich become richer and the poor become poorer. And thereafter, the World Bank, they have stated the guideline by 2030, the overall starvation that has to be minimized. And you know, now the average income of the people that has been stated, those are above the poverty line, is $1.25 per man per day. Under this criteria, those are falling below the pyramid, as stated by C.K. Prahlad, one of the management guru of the world, then our objective, the objective of the World Bank, what I stated earlier, is to uplift the standard of living of the people throughout the globe of the member countries. Then that is a very important aspect. The people, there is a human cry throughout the globe regarding or in favor of democracy or inclination towards democracy. Till date, it is not touching the mark of 60%. That is also an alarming one. Therefore, the urge for democracy, it is also true. The urge for liberalization or globalization, both are happening throughout the globe. But at the same time, we must not forget the danger of the multinationals. They are trying to destroy the sovereignty of any country. Some of the countries' GDP is lesser than the multinationals' turnover. You can say the Exxon Mobil or Ford or Walmart, they are on the top. First 10 economic unit, the Walmart can able to enter. This is an alarming situation. And many countries, the Canada, Australia, the other countries also, they are below Walmart. Now, only few lakhs of people can able to dominate over crores and crores of people. That thing is not good for future. Then when we are considering the global economics and the global politics, we must not forget this arena. We have to give insight into it, and the country must come up with a big power. Otherwise, the multinational can change even the constitution of the country. Now, we are considering the other aspect, the how a democracy, that change is the graphical presentation. The shade has become wider when we are considering the blue one, the more democracy, but we must not forget the autocracy still prevail in the 21st century, when we have so many international organizations like UNO. Some of the groups are there. You can see the G20, G7 or G8. Some of the BRICS country or some other groups are there in Asian group, but European Union is there. But till date, that we are not able to establish democracy throughout the globe. As we have already stated you, that MNCs they have shared a greater slice of employment, investment and the research. In terms of research and development, they are spending a lot. You can say the Samsung has invested in the research and development, it is higher than the investment of India. Now, in the public sector domain, now there are so many crises arising. The crisis of the Greece to crisis of Sri Lanka. Some of the countries like El Salvador, or you can say Argentina, Belarus, they are also facing typical crisis. And near about 53 countries of the globe, they are facing the crisis at this moment. They may be the case of Sri Lanka in future. Therefore, we have to think over the matter, because some of the aspect is very, very important in this arena. Now we are following the age of pandemic. During the pandemic, throughout the globe, there was a crisis. Again, depression comes, and the growth rate in the during the pandemic period fall up to the level of sink up to the level of 8%, which is not seen by the globe in the post 1870 situation. That is a very critical situation. All are facing crisis, the huge unemployment, shutdown, or the demand just drastically fall. And in this situation, another crisis also emerged throughout the globe, which is called the post-pandemic crisis. Now, we are also following a recent event of the Ukraine-Russia conflict. In this conflict, we are following the some crisis that has been emerged, a continuous problem, because they are one of the center of the food and your oil. Therefore, when the conflict started between Ukraine and Russia, the price of the food and the price of the oil go up throughout the globe. And there is no chance to revive this, and the escalation of the price of the food and the price of the oil price that has been mounting day by day, and the poorer people or bottom line people, they are highly affected with this price rise. But during this situation, the world cannot move idle. We have to resolve. The war is not the situation, because throughout the globe, if we consider this, the drugs is the first economic agenda that is unauthorized. The second is weapons, and third is oil. And you see, a large part of it are spending to carry the drugs and weapons. Therefore, the peoples are not giving much emphasis on their development, rather to destroy the world. Then we have to think over the matter. Now I am telling you, some of the groups are very powerful throughout the globe. First of all, G7 countries, the group of 7. And after the demolition of the socialism from Russia and erstwhile USSR breakdown, the Russia becomes the following the capitalist path, and they are also included in the G7, and they are converted into G8 countries. Now, another block is there, G20 countries. Group of 20 strong countries are there, making also a similar block as a very powerful block. But apart from that, we are seeing the emergence of the BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. This block is also most powerful. And when the geopolitical crisis is going on in different part, sometimes is Afghanistan. In present situation, there is a crisis or conflict between Tajikistan and Kazakhstan in the border, the geopolitical crisis that has been emerged. The peoples are just very fear about the situation. If the thing is continue, the development of the world that has been restored, and that the growth rate will just slip from the standard point that we have to manage it. The new power has been emerged, which is called the Korea and China, India, Japan. They are the big power. They are emerging power in the globe. The Asian tiger, that is India, and the Asian's dragon, that is China, they are very much powerful in this domain. And they are challenging the US dominance over the globe. Some of the fault are there. There is a conflict between the China and the USA. There is a conflict between the China and India, because they are using Pakistan as the middle way of their journey. They are try to capture the Sri Lanka over. They are giving the loan. We are saying the some sort of problem arising because of the Chinese loan. The Pakistan also facing the same problem. Therefore, performance of the UNO, the performance of the World Bank, the performance of the IMF have to be reviewed, or critically reviewed, so that the global tension be minimized over table. Otherwise, the people are worst sufferer of that particular situation. In this juncture, when we are talking near about 100 years of journey, if I sum up, that although the political economy that has been written by Adam Smith in 1776, but the World War of 1914 that and the Second World War that has witnessed the disaster situation of the globe, restructuring of the many country, and the emergence of the independent country after the Second World War is the new dimension of the globe. And in this arena, we can consider the NAM, non-aligned movement, India performing a dominating role in this arena. And till date, the India is not emerging as a third economic power after USA and the China in terms of purchasing power parity, as stated by Gustav Kassel as Swedish economist, that we are the third powerful nation, not in terms of GDP, but in terms of purchasing power parity. By 2050, the India's economy supersede the Chinese economy, because we have a large number of youth population or young population, and that's why India is called the young nation, and young nation has some sort of potentiality in terms of labor intensive or capital intensive, what type of economy you are following or peoples are following. These terms are used by Amartya Sen in his book Choice of Technique, which path you follow. The Australia cannot follow the labor intensive technique because they have a low number of population. But India is with a baggage of 132 crores of population. We cannot just follow the path of capital intensive instead of labor intensive. But in the dimension of the global economy or in the dimension of the globalization, we have to follow the mixed path, both capitalism, capital intensive and the labor intensive, because the India is the next target of the reskilling center, where the artificial intelligence, machine learning, AI, or data mining, data banking, we are providing not only the BPO, but the KPO is also emerging in India, and we can provide that support. And previously the Barbie doll was prepared by China, but it is now prepared by India. India toys are very acceptable throughout the globe. You are saying that our ease of doing business, India's performance is very good, and we are on the upskilling path. But at the same time, the digitalization, the concept of digital India, Make in India, these are the projects that India emerged as a big power and throw the challenge to the USA and the Chinese economy. And I feel in future, the dominance of India, I can tell you the reference of 1700, when the India's contribution in the world's GDP was 24.5%. we can imagine. And when the British left India in 1947, that contribution come down to the level of 4.5%. But again, the India's GDP just crossing the barrier of $3 trillion. Now it is $3.17 trillion. But in what I am telling, in terms of GDP, we are fifth, but in terms of purchasing power parity, we are third. Therefore, emerging nation, more employment opportunity, the investment, destination of the investment, that's the biggest challenge to India. And India just try to make up this skill gap. And if the young, educated people, they are skilling, go for skilling and reskilling, then we are dominating and our GDP will go up and our dominance over the world. Our dominance is not to enclose the other's economy or other country. Our dominance is the one of the things, Boshu Vaida Kutumbakam. The world is one and we are the part of the world for the purpose of development of the world, which is called the sustainable development. Our dominance is not supersede the sovereignty of any country, but cooperation, moderation, and helping hand. We are extending that throughout the globe, and that's why the India in this global economics and the global politics interaction situation, our dominance is much, much important throughout the globe and acceptable throughout the globe. Thank you. Thanks to all.